Hello YouTube, this is StephenWorldwide with another video update. This blog, I'm just going to continue. I've been talking about the food truck I had in Korea in 2012. That was a very interesting year. That is a year I'll never forget. And it was 80% good that year, so it's not like there's anything terrible. I lost a ton of money, got abused at a private school. Then I acquired a food truck with a couple friends and busted my ass teaching English and serving up food late night all through the weekend. And there's a couple stories that are pretty funny and pretty interesting that I forgot to mention. Again, so why not just make a video here? I don't think this video will be that long. I think I'll get through it in 10 minutes, something like that. We'll see. It's Sunday. It's around 2. And I'm on my way into Tokyo to go to a language exchange to sit around and talk to Japanese people about culture and travel and food. And it's usually the same thing every time. It's usually those three things I love to talk about: food, culture, languages, traveling. And there's no shortage of people that want to hear my stories. And I want to hear their stories too. Alright, yeah, so working at a food truck, when you're downtown where all the clubs are and there's a lot of people, and people are drinking, it's late at night, you see and hear a lot of wacky stuff. Let's see, I think I could tell 2 stories and maybe more if they come to my mind. I remember the one story, I guess you can call it the poop daddy story or the poop diddy story. There was a teacher in Gwangju, he was an English teacher that, for fun with his buddies, he had a rap group. He was a rapper. And him and his buddies, they had a name for their group, and they had, I don't know, 5 or 10 songs that they wrote, and they would do performances in the area. And this one guy got really drunk one night. I think there's a smudge on the lens. He got really drunk one night, and so drunk that it looked like he was tripping on acid, or somebody like put acid or something in his drink, because he was extremely belligerent. And his friends were trying to calm him down, and he was fighting them, his own friends. So he was right near the truck in front of this club, and he was being very difficult. And I remember this, a friend of mine bought a burrito, and she was eating her burrito. She walked away from the truck. The guy walked by her and slapped the burrito out of her hand on the ground. And he couldn't get in the club, so he's pacing around outside the club, and his friends can't calm him down. I don't know what he's pissed off about. I don't know what's going on, but I felt like he was a little bit dangerous. And because he's a big hip-hop star, he's not wearing his pants around his waist. He's wearing his pants down where you can see his underwear hanging out. Because that's what you're supposed to do when you're when you think you're a rap star, I guess. And the problem with that is he shit in his pants. The guy shit his pants, and he has shit in his boxer shorts, and you know, wearing your pants down by your ankles ain't gonna help that much. So this guy shit his pants. He was so wasted, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to sell a lot of kebabs with this guy smelling like shit walking around in front of the truck. So he was fighting one of his friends, and one of his friends pushed him up against the front of the truck. And the next day we had to hose down the bumper. We scrubbed the truck. It wasn't like, there might have been like a drop of shit on the front of the truck that we had to scrub off. And after that, on Facebook, everybody was picking on this guy. They called him Poop Diddy or Poop Daddy and all these names. And I thought to myself, you know, the police finally came like an hour later. He was walking around the street like stopping cars and cursing off taxi drivers, and the police finally came. He broke down and he was crying at one point. It was a bad night for this dude, and everybody has a bad night, but that was a really bad night where your friends are trying to help you and you're fighting them off. So that was the Poop Daddy story. There was another time I was worried about losing that truck and getting in trouble. Another foreigner caused a problem again. Notice the theme here? So it was a busy night, and I had just opened. It was 11:30 or midnight. And because I'm on the sidewalk, people are passing by. Crowds of people have to walk by the truck, and they bump into each other. And this foreigner guy who was usually friendly with me, and he came and he bought kebabs often. He always said, meat, meat, give me meat, extra meat. I want more meat, meat, meat. I said, all right, fine, I'll give you a little bit of meat, but it ends up falling out of the tortilla as he's eating it. So he was walking by the truck, and he passed a small group of ajashis, like old Korean married men. Couple old guys, and maybe I think one of the Korean guys must have uttered something. They're drunk. They must have uttered something like "get out of my way" or "move over" or something like that. And this foreigner guy had been living in Korea for a while. He wasn't a teacher. He was a university grad school student. I guess he was drunk too, and I guess he wanted to show that he could speak Korean and he understood what the old man said. And he thought it would be a good idea to get in a confrontation with this old man and say something in Korean to the effect of, you know, shut the hell up, old man, you know, who the hell are you, or something like that. And if you're not new in Korea, if you have any brains in your head or ability to control yourself, you realize that no matter what, if the police come, it's your fault. And you really have to have definitive proof, like video evidence for sure, that you didn't cause the fight, you didn't escalate the fight, you didn't do anything wrong. It was the Koreans' fault that, you know, that the fight happened. So you don't pick a fight with Koreans as much as possible. And I've seen some really bad shit, whereas in our country you would step in and try to help out in the situation, but after some horror stories that you hear, you don't mess around. But this foreigner thought it would be the right decision to, and everybody's drinking, so he fucked up. And the Korean guy stops with his buddy, and the two of them are yelling and going at it, and the Korean guy pushes him. I don't know who pushed each other first, but these are just two drunk guys yelling and screaming at each other and pushing each other around. And over what? Because they walked by each other and one of them bumped the other one by accident? Really? That you're gonna have a fight over that? Right in front of my truck, like 5 feet away, 6 feet away from my truck. And this foreigner goes to my truck and pulls out the knife. You ever see those long knives that they use to cut the meat on the meat stick? It looks like a sword. With the end is kind of rounded. He grabs the knife and holds it to the Korean guy. Like, what are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do now? And I can't just go and grab a knife out of the guy's hand. So, like, I'm looking around being like, his friends, like, talk to this guy. Get that knife out of his hand. Talk to this guy. The police show up. I mean, nobody got hurt. But the police show up 10 minutes later. The old guy's yelling about the foreigner. The police pull out cameras and start taking pictures of my truck. Taking pictures of everything. And I'm a little bit worried. And I'm offering them, do you want a kebab? Are you hungry? They're like, no thanks. They left. Nothing happened. No problem. Thank God. So drunk people getting in fights with using the kebab knife. That was an interesting night. Being outside the club, you see beautiful women. Women are dressed to the nines. And in Korea, no matter how cold it is, they don't wear baggy pants. In the winter, they'll just wear leggings, but you can see like the whole shape of their body. And that was kind of a bummer for me because I want to be in the club like partying and drinking and dancing with everybody, and I'm working there. So that was one of the difficult parts of that job, was I couldn't have fun with everybody. I was working. And I remember the owner of the club was really cool. He didn't come out and talk to me that much, but he just kind of said, don't worry, whatever you need. And there was a host of the club. His name was Craig. And he was cool as shit. And he would come out and hang out and just talk to me, and always like, you know, whatever you need, whatever I can help you with, just let me know. You want me to bring you up a cocktail? Are you thirsty? Whatever. And that guy's really awesome. Now he has his own bar. He has his own lounge in Gwangju. Loft 28, I think that's what it's called. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out his club if you're in Gwangju. Cool guy, him and his cousin Ron. Two really cool people in Gwangju. There was some other crazy stuff. I don't know, this isn't really wholesome to say, but there was a foreigner that told me he comes up to the truck, and he had like a bewildered look on his face, and he told a story to another foreigner right in front of the truck that he was in one of the clubs, and there was a Korean girl that looked at him. They exchanged glances and smiled, and they started talking to each other. And they walked out of the club like 10 minutes later, 10 or 15 minutes later. And he told me that they walked into an alley and he had sex with her right then and there. And like they didn't even remember or know each other's names. Like in an alleyway. And they put their underwear back on and said, see you later. And I basically couldn't believe what I was hearing. She said, like, are you going to call me? Or here's my number, why don't you call me? And he was like, all right, maybe. And he comes to my truck, he's like, that just happened 5 minutes ago. I was like, oh. So maybe what else is going on in this seedy downtown area? Just crazy stories. What else? You know what? One of the good things about being out there for a year at the food truck was my Korean got a lot better. And I had to listen to and speak to Koreans on the street when they're drunk. So it's kind of like they can't speak English, or they're too drunk to care or whatever, but easy, like ordering food, Korean. I just felt my Korean got better out there, just talking to strangers in Korean. And I guess because they were drunk, they were not shy. And they'll just come up and say in Korean, what is this? What kind of food are you selling here? Is it delicious? Oh, this is expensive. Or they're giving opinions about stuff, and then after they eat it, they tell me what they think, all in Korean. And when the repetition of that, my Korean got a lot better. So I don't know, I think that's it. I think I've explored this food truck thing as far as I can go. If I missed anything, if you have any more questions, there's a radio station in Gwangju. It's an English radio station called GFN. Shout out to GFN. And there was a host there. He's got a show, his name is Travis Groves, Travi G. And he had me on the show right before I left Gwangju. And we did like a 45-minute segment about It was called Confessions of a Food Truck Guy. And I basically told stories about the food truck live on the radio, and it was just supposed to be funny. So I did this before, this whole telling the tale. This is 6 years ago, long time ago, but it's nice to revisit it. All right, so I'm on my way to Tokyo. I just walked a different way. Usually I'm walking to school. Now you just saw me walking through the area, the main area of where I live. And here's the subway station. All right, so that's about it for today. Enjoy the rest of the weekend if I post this and it's still the weekend where you are. See you in the next video.